why not? That's my reason.
Yep.
Why not?
Well, that's
37 yards, 4 interceptions. You're not going to win a football game. If you win a football game with those stats, I'll be
Tim
shocked.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
The Orange Zone, sponsored by Billy Whitaker Cars and Trucks.
What's up? Welcome in to the Orange Zone podcast, the award-winning Orange Zone podcast. A reminder, you can find every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you want to listen. You can also find every episode on our Orange Zone YouTube page. New episodes released Wednesdays. We invite you to like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to follow our all-new Instagram and TikTok page for even more Orange Zone content. Be sure to share. We've been getting so many good comments over the last few weeks, so we want to thank everyone for that and share your thoughts. We want to hear them as it's a big part of kind of what we're talking about is getting the pulse of this Syracuse and really ACC fan base. Tommy Sladek here. We have Samantha Crossan. We have Super Bowl champion James Mungro. And we have Brendon Hodges on the producer mic. And guess what? The vibe is continuing. And when I say it like that, I mean it is trending
Down the slope.
down the slope. We're getting into this Syracuse team. 5 straight losses. They have Pitt this weekend, neutral site game. Things are not hot. For a minute there, we thought it was going to be hotter. But this team lost to Boston College 17-10, and it's not great. How are you guys feeling? What are the thoughts?
Vibe check. You want to know my first thought right off the rip? Is that Pitt FSU game, like, I'm a little bit worried, you know?
Oh, for this Saturday, I mean.
Yeah. I feel like Pitt, despite their record, is actually a better team than people make them out to be.
I would agree with that.
I thought that their performance against Jordan Travis was pretty good, especially for the first 3 quarters.
What was the final score?
I don't remember what the final ended up being, but I did watch a decent chunk of that game, and they were really holding Jordan Travis. They have a pretty good defense. That was my main takeaway from it. And against an offense that seriously struggles.
24-7. So offense not great, but
I mean,
defense
24-7. Yeah, like
Yeah.
24-7, not terrible against a team that was at that point the 4th-ranked team in the entire country. I mean, that makes me feel worried. That makes me feel like I'm not sure exactly how this week's going to go. James.
Well, I think you're right, Samantha. I think you should feel worried. Pitt has a chip on their shoulder. I'm not saying Syracuse doesn't have a chip on their shoulder, but I think Pitt has a little chip on their shoulder, and they have a couple wins in the conference. Obviously, we don't have no wins at all in the conference.
Right.
They're playing at a neutral site. I see Pitt going in there and doing some terrible things at Syracuse, unfortunately.
So Pitt, 2-7 overall. Syracuse does have them beat there, but like we mentioned, they do have a conference win. They're 1-4. They've lost 3 straight. Syracuse has lost 4 straight, and they are 0-5 in conference play. 0-5. James was at the game Friday night.
Yes, I was.
How was that experience? Because I know your old buddy Dwight Freeney was there getting honored, so wanted to support him.
In the very beginning, it was good. Try to make some positives out of it. Try to think of some positive things that happened during the game. But, it's just the whole same thing again with Syracuse. Quarterback play. You got a new quarterback in there. Shader was hurt. You cannot win a game with 37 yards passing. You just cannot. With 4 turnovers, it's almost impossible to win. And with the penalties too as well, it doesn't help you at all with the penalties. It's just very, very sloppy football, and I really think a change need to occur definitely after the season.
Well, let's get into the quarterback situation because that caught some people off guard. We had heard some rumblings of it on Friday that Schrader would be not playing. Honestly, should have looked into him more because it kind of happened. We didn't really get that feel, but ultimately they said he was hurt in the Virginia Tech game. Carlos Del Rio Wilson comes in. I didn't see anything in the Virginia Tech game that was any different. I think it just might have been – it could just be one of those things where it's the same thing that we've been seeing the last few weeks where it's obvious that it's not the same guy that we saw the first 4 weeks of the season. Quarterback situation this week because Del Rio Wilson got banged up in Friday's game against Boston College. Neither available today. Were you surprised by that?
I was a little bit. I was hoping that one of them would be made available, and that is something that we had requested. It's not uncommon, especially if someone was hurt in the game prior, for them to not be there for that player availability. But you were hoping that you would be able to get just a little, like some semblance of what was going on, because Dino always says in his Monday morning press conference that he cannot talk about the injury report because they get seen by a doctor later that day. So you would hope that by Tuesday, if they were there, you could potentially ask those questions, even if it was something as simple as, how are you feeling? That wasn't made available, unfortunately.
It's strange to me, by the way. I do want to sneak that in. I just think it's strange when you aren't able to talk to your team doctor till late on Monday.
I think it's tactical, quite honestly. Either way, they did make Elijah Clark available, and his suspension is over, the partial suspension. So that's just something to know heading into next week as well. And he had some certainly lessons and takeaways from that experience.
And for fans wondering, his suspension was an odd one because he was available on special teams, but not to play defense. Is that something you ever heard of before?
Never heard of that before. That's very odd, and I just never heard of that before. I don't know why, how they have those type of rules, or who even came up with that rule, but that's just nonsense. That's just complete nonsense.
So you think if you're suspended for the game, you're suspended?
You're suspended.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nonsense. And I mean, just like how the season is. I mean, just like how the season is right now, it's just nonsense. And it's just, when it goes downhill, all of it goes downhill. And with that type of decision making, I've never heard of that before. It's just ridiculous. Like, if the kid's in trouble, let the kid learn from it. But he's not playing defense, but he can play special teams.
And he's a big piece of that defense. He's very big, and I think some of these defensive performances have gone a little bit under the radar just because we're not able to see what this defense is looking like when they're getting off when they're able to have those breaks and really have a full 4 quarters of football where they're playing, I would say a not a certain number of minutes, just to have an opportunity to not be going out there after, you force it, you have a long drive, you have a big stop, and then the offense does a 3 and out, and you're right back out there. But we're seeing that over and over again. I think it's kind of dimmed some of these defensive performances. I think Elijah Clark is one of those that's been a big playmaker. But Sam, you spoke with the players on Tuesday, and for the sake of the listeners, and I know they feel it, is like we feel like we're recorders at this point. Like we're repeating ourselves like parrots week after week. What was was there anything different? Because I know the players can sometimes also have a similar rhetoric as the losing streak.
There was something interesting. What happened today was, because you mentioned some of that repeat energy, and one person I would say who you kind of hear that from is Dan Villari. A couple weeks in a row now, including this week, he has said something to the effect of, I want to see more passion and hard work 100% of the time, especially and including during practice. But today he follows that up by saying that after today's practice, LaQuinn Allen had a speech for the team of his own. So then LaQuinn comes out, and we say, well, what was that about? Was that in the spur of the moment? He's kind of like, yeah, it was, I don't know if it was either during practice or after practice, but it was around that time. And basically he had said this was his pump up speech to the team. And his message was, we can still get into a bowl game. There is still things to play for. And I guess that was the message behind it, is just trying to motivate them. So that was the one thing that I thought was interesting. We kind of heard a little bit of what kind of would have went on at practice. And LaQuinn was like, I felt like I needed to be the person to step up. And I wanted to be the person who made sure that the team heard that message. I think he might have felt a little bit like the players were going through the motions. That was like a word that he used. So I don't know. I actually thought that was interesting, because sometimes you need to hear something like that, something motivational from another player. It's sort of like with your mom and your dad, like when you're hearing the same thing from them over and over and over, you're sort of tuning it out. But then all of a sudden your older brother says it to you, or your younger sister, you're like, damn, everybody's noticing this now. You know what I mean? And for LaQuinn, being a younger guy and trying to step up like that, I think that probably means something different to the players. And I do believe that it meant something special to Villari too.
Well, the leader on the team on offense is the quarterback, Schrader. So Schrader's not out there, so someone needs to speak up. And no one's taking the lead in that. Offense line has been shuffled around the whole year. We got some new guys. Gadsden's not out there either, because he would have spoke up if he was out there. But he's not out there, so that's good that Allen stepped in there and took that role of trying to be a leader. And another positive thing, what you just said, is the guys are not giving up. Even though the play is bad and terrible, they're not giving up, and they're still trying to figure it out. There's only 3 games left. You know, it's going to be tough to figure it out, but they're not giving up, and they're, hopefully they just stick to the game plan that what they've been doing over the past few years of just competing, and just going out there just playing football and just competing, just tackling and running, and no turnovers. But again, this year for the guys is unfortunate for them of this year, because it's totally a missed opportunity. But I think what we were talking about in the very beginning, who's going to play quarterback?
Right.
Who's going to play quarterback this Saturday? If both quarterbacks are hurt, our second-string quarterback just had 37 yards passing, a total offense of 200, maybe 30, 40 yards. Who's going to play quarterback? And what is his status, and how's that going to look?
Do we want to do an impromptu draft?
It's a great question. I mean, I think I know who it will be.
The wide receiver?
No, I think it'll be Brendon Davis, who's a transfer from South Carolina. And I have this just completely based on, I believe it was the Colgate, because we know we got to get a little bit of a taste of the third, even fourth stringers, especially in the Colgate game, and then with Western Michigan as well. And so he was the third quarterback to come in after Del Rio Wilson. Just a little background on it, because you bring up a great point. I think it's to leave the other team a little bit on their toes, but there's a complete possibility that it is a guy like Brendon Davis coming in and actually looking to make some noise at QB. He's a transfer from South Carolina. From
I don't think other teams are worried about that.
I would be watching tape. I would be watching tape on all 3 of them, if I'm being honest.
Well, okay, this is take a brain surgeon. Schrader plays, he's going to run the ball. Tackle Schrader. Okay,
he's not even running anymore.
Well, he's got beat up he got hit so many times. Don't protect himself. It's gonna like I said earlier in the year. He has to protect himself. He didn't do that, so therefore, they're going to win with him, with his legs, running the ball, and taking these hits, hit after hit, putting his shoulder down. He can step out of bounds, but he preferred to put his shoulder down. Now he's on the sidelines.
I'm kind of still wrapped up on what is the percentage or chance that Schrader or Del Rio Wilson actually plays. Are both of them still?
That's what I mean.
In the ring at all?
I mean that it's a complete mystery. I truly think we could see either of them again.
Me
I think
too.
we could easily see Schrader come out there.
My gut tells me Schrader.
Huh?
So so they're not going to practice.
No, I think they are. I think they are practicing.
And I think they already know who the starter is. I think everybody behind the scenes. I think, and that was even asked today. They're like, I don't know anything, but I know that they do, because the question was also asked, when did you know that Carlos Del Rio Wilson was going to be starting last week, to one of the players? I forget who it was, and they were like, early. Which, of course, that makes sense to me. And it also makes sense to me why the media wouldn't know about it. It is tactical. It's a strategy, because you don't want the other coach to find out, and the other players. Like you said, I feel like the one advantage of not knowing who is starting is that for the other team, it does get a little bit confusing, and I do think it probably requires more prep work, and you're not sure exactly what you're going to see. But I don't know. For me, it feels like it's Schrader.
Defense, I'm licking my lips.
I mean,
if I'm a Pittsburgh defense, front line, I'm like, I don't care who's playing quarterback. They can't throw the ball. Let's get him. He's going to run. I mean, it's no secret what's going to happen out there. And whoever they bring in, if it's going to be the third string quarterback, this dude, Carlos, just threw for 37 yards. How many yards are we going to get from this guy who's a third string?
I'll be honest.
I'm not trying to be like the bad person, but I'm just being serious. Like I'm pissed myself. I wanted to be in New York City watching the game this Saturday, but I'm not going to go down there and waste that money. I love Syracuse, but why am I going to waste my money to go down there and see a sloppy game at a neutral site? We can't even fill the dome right now. But we're going to play someplace else.
I like Carlos's vibe. Like he seems like a cool dude, but from what we saw on Friday, and especially if he's banged up on top of that, I don't think that can be the answer this week. That is not going to win this game. And you know what the irony of this is? And it's a game that I've been just trying to forget about because it was one of the ugliest games I've been to. When Syracuse went to Pitt last year, if you guys remember this was when Schrader was out. Del Rio Wilson started. They lost 19-3. It was bad. Capital B, bad. So to me, if it's not Schrader that's giving it a go, I would not be surprised if it's a guy like Brendon Davis or someone coming in, because why not? That's my reason.
Yep.
Why not?
Dude, that's
37 yards, 4 interceptions. You're not going to win a football game. If you win a football game with those stats, I'll be
Tim
shocked.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow. Brendon, how you doing, man? What's going on, bro?
Well, I was going to see if you guys wanted to do an impromptu draft to who would you want to play quarterback, and I was expecting like a Dan Villari or a LaQuint Allen Wildcat game to come out or something like that.
They were asked about they
They
asked
don't
about
have enough time.
They asked about that. And also, like, he's been one of the more positive things, I think, with the offense this year. So it's like, I'm not changing
both of them have been, I feel like.
Oh, LaQuint, I mean, we should say that. And I think it's kind of like the given. Like, LaQuint's been great. And
but we were expecting that as well.
But I'm not surprised that he's someone that went and spoke up, because they've said it since the summer. They're like, he treats every practice like a game. And he's someone I think that we would all love to have as a teammate.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably someone that gets so pissed off when things aren't going well.
And, speaking of that, at practice, he really impressed me. And that was one guy I thought this season that was really going to take it to the next level. Watching my practice, he, like you said, he's 100 miles per hour. Runs the ball out after, the guys are swinging at him, try to knock the ball out. He's still running downfield. So I really like the way he prepares. I really do.
And could you imagine what he'd be doing numbers-wise if he actually had holes in some of these games?
I saw it at practice, and our defense is a good defense, and he was going against the starting. Well, he was going against the twos actually at the time,
right.
But he's good, and that's the whole thing. Like, we have good players. It's the coaches that have to figure out where the players need to be at, and have them in the proper plays. You know their abilities, you know what they can do and what they can't do. So now, as a coach, you have to figure out and game plan what's going to work. And you can't switch up and do the wildcat and all that now. You have 1 week, to play this game on TV, and if you're gonna do that, you had to practice that during the bye week and all that type of stuff to have that to be prepared for a game.
I mean, they've done a few, wildcat type jumbo plays at the goal line, but like to have a whole offense around that, Brendon, respectfully, I don't think that works.
I'm not even saying like whole
I
offense.
don't know.
I'm saying
it kind of sounded like
I'm saying like you wouldn't expect them if Schrader and Carlos can't go to have a little wildcat in there or put Dan behind center just for like power or something. That seems like an easy thing to practice a play or two rather than a full on like offense around it.
You know what they should do? Is they should just get a package all together just for, was it the push they call it now?
The brotherly shove? The tush push?
Yeah, it's a tush push.
And just do that the whole way down the field?
The whole way down the field.
James, you've been complaining about the offensive line all year. You think that would work?
Something just, at this point, Brendon, we try anything.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Why not? I mean, we should. It's like a game of Madden football.
It's
throw it deep every single time.
You're smart to mention the Pitt front, by the way, James. One of my stats I brought to you guys in that nice little packet today. They don't do a lot good on defense. They've given up like third most points per game in the conference, I'm pretty sure, but they get to the quarterback. The last team that we knew got to the quarterback really well was Virginia Tech. We all saw how that game went. 8 sacks.
Yeah.
Syracuse has given up an average of just over 3.5 sacks in over the course of the last 5 games, those 5 straight losses. So, I mean, hey, just watch out for Pitt's defense to put pressure on early and often. If Syracuse wants to run the ball, they're going to be running against a stacked box because, like you said, James, I don't think Pitt's expecting them to throw the ball anywhere over the yard.
I'm not. I mean, anybody who's been watching Syracuse for the past few weeks.
Brendon, can you tell the viewers about the quarterback situation?
Yeah,
because this is a little bit wild.
So 6 games into the season, Tommy's favorite name to say in the ACC, Phil Jurkovec.
I could not remember for so long.
I remember that.
It was a constant battle with my mind.
Well, he was still at BC last year, right?
And he was at Boston College, and he transferred to Pitt because he was good, dude. He was really a bigger name in the beginning of the year. He went through some injuries. But this man is at tight end now.
Yeah, he got replaced midway through the season by Christian Veilleux, Canadian. The name is not spelled like that. It's like Vuelliux.
I like what you did there.
You're welcome. We had a Chiron Drones was the reason that I did that this week.
We've had great names. I'm looking at these. Yeah. I'm like, look, are you kidding me?
Bub Means.
Kanata Mumfield, Bub Means, Rodney
but
Hammond,
no, so,
Sebo Flemister.
But no, so with
that is unbelievable, Pitt fans.
Yeah,
I'm sure they've known that all year, but like from the outside eye, that is is amazing.
But no, so with Veyer, like he hasn't been like great. 50% completions, like he's been fine, but they haven't won with him. Like he's played in 6 games. He replaced Jerkovic. Jerkovic decided, let's go play tight end because I'm a big dude and I'm not going to get under center the rest of this year. It's just like, I don't know. Like it's kind of like, didn't Pitt have Keaton Slovis under center for that game against SU last year?
It was, yeah.
Not a great quarterback, but they got it done because SU was just like worse than they were in that game.
He was at USC.
He was at USC,
right?
then transferred to Pitt. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was such an ugly.
But it's
game.
like it's kind of like it's setting
so bad.
It's setting up the same way with like Veyer just kind of being. He's a guy. Like they don't run the ball well really at all. They rush for just over 100 yards a game, second worst in the ACC. Worst in the ACC. It's like it's going to be Syracuse is going to be like, we can stop the run with our front. Let's cover the pass. And Pitt's going to be like, we know they can't pass the ball. Let's stop the run. It's just going to be an ugly football game that's like a lot of stuff in the midfield, teams punting from their 20 to the other 20 and vice versa. I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game, and I don't know who to pick to win. Both of these teams are bad. They're just both bad.
I know who to pick.
We'll get to that in a second. But no, like
Mongo has changed his team.
Before we go back to you guys, I know I haven't picked games this year.
You can pick this week.
I
want you to pick this week. Hit us with yours. You're going to kick off game picks.
I'm picking Syracuse.
He's picking Syracuse.
Score
and why? I'm
picking Syracuse in like a 16-12 game. Like it's just going to be it's at Yankee Stadium. I have no idea what the weather's going to be like, but let's just say for kicks it's going to rain. It's just going to be an ugly, sloppy game. And who can run the ball better is the key for me. And SU by far runs the ball better than Pitt.
Right now, especially. Last week, actually, that was very encouraging.
So it could go completely the other way because Syracuse is prone to mistakes. But at this point, it's like if it is Brendon Davis starting, or if they decide they're pulling out all the stops this week, LeQuint's probably going to. I would be shocked if they don't have LeQuint Allen taking a snap from the Wildcat and running behind 10 guys, so you can even up the numbers game and just go. But if I were them, I would literally just say, we have big people. You have big people. Let's see if our big people can beat your big people and run the clock down and run down the field. It's going to be a quick game. It's going to be an ugly game. Probably not going to watch it, even though I should because cover SU. I'll be calling a volleyball game. That's why I won't be watching it. But on Saturday, it's a game I wouldn't want to watch if I wasn't affiliated with Syracuse and having to cover it for this. But I'll go back and watch it, and if it's not a game where there's like 50 rushing attempts between the two teams, I will be shocked.
Okay, there we go. That's Brendon's.
We heard it. We heard the whole story.
We heard the whole thing.
You got any more, Brendon?
James, what's your score?
My score first. Let me say who my winner's going to be.
You're not even waiting for Sam right now. This is amazing.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry.
No. It's not disrespectful. We're like, that's impressive. Like, we're proud because I do feel like you're always kind of like.
I'm wondering
side eye.
I'm wondering if my big speech got him to turn back to Syracuse, like Sam's big speech.
No way.
Hell to the
he's
no.
He's picking Pitt immediately.
Pitt Panthers, baby. Pitt Panthers.
Pitt Panthers.
Final
score.
They're going to take a bite of that orange and spit the seeds out.
Okay.
They have no offense. It's terrible to say that as an offensive guy. Syracuse has no offense, and they have not proven to have offense. I'm saying the score is probably going to be somewhere between 24-10.
24-10.
All right.
24-10 final score. Sam, you like yours?
I'm also going Pitt Panthers on this. And last week, I feel like I sort of gave the Orange the benefit of the doubt. I chose BC to win, but I set a score that was relatively high.
You had them scoring points.
I did. And I will not be doing that again.
But the problem is this. You do the player interview. The players talk you into it because you see the excitement. You see, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna turn this around. As being a former athlete, you feel that way because you know and been through stuff like that, and you give them the benefit of the doubt.
I see that they feel inspired, but this time around, it's not enough for me, and I am learning from my mistakes. But I actually could see it going the way Brendon said that it would. But either way, I have to go with my gut on this. I'm going with the Pitt Panthers. I'm going with a score to the tune of 17-10.
Mm-hmm.
Just copy.
17-10?
You didn't say that, bro.
Last week.
Goodbye. And
you didn't say it last week either.
That's all I got to say.
I thought in my mind.
All right.
Oh, you know what else I have to say?
What?
Every single week that I see this team play, they remind me more and more of the Jets. To be honest.
I mean,
that was, well.
I'm sorry.
Did we go that low?
I don't know if
to
we're
the
ever going to
Jets?
get James back in here.
I
now.
watched that game Monday night. I had to work it, and I see that.
But I'm just saying, like it's just like one of those, just like it's just mind numbing, and maybe it's because I was shooting last week. I just feel like I saw just so many just possessions back and forth of just nothingness. I ran so many, like I probably ran a mile with that camera.
So
you know?
for the viewers, Sam, for the most part, we like to have the offense coming at the camera. That way, it's the ball's flowing through the air.
So imagine my night.
I got what
So
you're saying.
when the possession gets turned over, when you see when that commercial break happens, and a lot of times it's pretty quick, there's these really narrow lines behind the team's benches. So you're basically just sprinting with your stuff, and it can get in a game like that. It's bad.
Like I was here.
And if you ever watch any like really big game like the Super Bowl, you'll see all the reporters. They have like their own little lane where the reporter is running back and forth. That's hilarious.
Yes.
I've seen that. I've seen people. Like 5 people just tumble.
It's great video.
It's hilarious.
It's a great video. For me, 10 did me great last week. I mean, 10 points. I nailed the Syracuse part, so I feel like I can nail that again. This one, though, I'm going to go with Pitt 12, Syracuse 10. I think there's a Pitt touchdown field goal safety just because a safety is not out of the question. We saw it in the Virginia Tech game. I think there's going to be an obscurity of sorts, kind of like Brendon said, where I think that pops in there. Could they win this game? Yes, and I believe it is if the quarterback situation is just better. If it's Delria Wilson, I don't see it, especially if he's banged up on top of that.
So do you think the third-string quarterback could give us a W?
Maybe. Why not at this point? Why not? But they also have it on the depth chart. They have the depth chart where it is for a reason. So, end of the day, you want your first guy out there.
In case you guys are wondering, Tommy is once again the only person who has picked Syracuse to cover. And well, I picked him to win, so I guess I'm with him there. But he's the only one who picked Pitt to win with Syracuse to cover.
You see how bad I'm doing against the spread, dude? Like I have to.
You won against the spread last week.
I know, finally, but I'm 3-5.
Yeah.
James and Sam are just toasting me.
Yeah. You guys want some football trivia?
I'm even cooking James.
Yeah, let's do football trivia and then we wrap this up.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm cooking everybody. I'm a chef.
So you guys remember? I don't think
So
Munger
bad,
was here last year, but the infamous Moten beasting Brendon question about Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. I have another Yankee Stadium question.
Okay.
There are 4 active Division I programs with more wins at football programs, I should say. So you're not like yelling at me here. 4 active Division I football programs with more wins at Yankee Stadium than Syracuse. Name one of them, and you all need to name a different team.
Okay, repeat that again, because I was just reading the bottom of what you wrote.
I was paying attention to Sam's Hulk hands.
Say it again, Brandon.
There are 4 active Division I football programs with more wins at Yankee Stadium than Syracuse. This is all time. Name one of them, and all of you need to pick a different team.
I'll tell you a team that has 1 win, Minnesota.
I mean, Syracuse has
USC.
Syracuse, USC.
Oh,
have they been there? I think.
You said Yankee Stadium though.
Yankee Stadium. So what teams would be playing at Yankee Stadium? It's also
Pitt?
like probably Pinstripe Bowl. I think Pitt's one of them because this game is marking the centennial 100 years of Pitt Syracuse.
Pitt has been there. Pitt
has definitely been there. I think Pitt's one, and I feel like the other one's just related to like the. Yeah, honestly, well.
Although
Syracuse, we know has at least one there because when they beat West Virginia 10 years ago, 2012.
But they didn't play. There's not. I mean, how many games have been played at Yankee Stadium? Not a lot.
Just since 2011. They have more than Syracuse, right?
Yes.
You're saying
there are 4 active Division I programs.
Is it with 2 wins?
More than that.
It's 4 tied for more.
Syracuse has won 7 games at Yankee Stadium all time.
Okay. All right. This
in 100 years, Tommy.
That is true.
I say Penn State.
So this is pre. Oh, that is a good
That
one.
is a great
That's
one.
a great one. Okay, so Penn State, I like Pitt too.
I like Pitt.
Again, you all get to pick one team.
Oh, I thought we had to get all 4.
No, you have. It's name one team.
Okay.
But you all have to pick a different team.
I said
All
Penn
right,
State.
here's Penn State. Do you want to go Pitt or do you want to go someone else? Because also on the board is like a Fordham or like a, you know what I mean? Like
a team that is closer to
New
York
Yankee
City?
Stadium, like
Rutgers.
Rutgers.
That's not bad.
Well, Rutgers wouldn't play there.
I think I
mean, no.
how far away do you think that is from East Rutherford? Well, not far
40
enough,
minutes?
Right.
I have to say, I thought Penn State was a snipe. I hope you're right
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, I am too.
I don't know. I guess I can go Pitt and you can take the third one.
All right, I'll take Fordham.
All right, just to recap, Tommy picked Fordham.
Mm-hmm.
Sam picked Pitt.
Yes.
And James has Penn State.
You got one?
Can I change mine?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah. West Virginia gonna say?
I think I'm going to switch it to Army.
Oh,
That's-
nice.
yes.
But
Okay.
I think we
Yes.
might have all 4 if I'm being honest.
Okay. One of these teams is out of the SWAC, Grambling State. 13 wins at Yankee Stadium all time.
I don't even want to get into that. I don't even.
One
I can see that, though.
is
Grambling
Notre
State.
Dame,
Oh.
18. Mr. Sladek, Fordham was one of them
Come on!
Okay.
with 15.
Wow.
Dang.
And he gets a bonus point because Army is the other one.
Whoa.
Wow. Look at you.
I'm the color of fire.
Both
right
have
now.
15.
Okay, big
Anyway,
dog.
so Tommy, well done. I
you.
applaud you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
And
that.
as for Sam and Mungro, better luck next time. Again.
But this is a team. No,
it wasn't.
I'm saying you may not call, but this is a team effort at this round.
How many did Pitt
at the
have?
round tables? Team
Pitt, they have one. Just one.
effort. How about Penn
That's
State? Penn
that's
State
pretty
was never there?
shocking.
I don't remember how many Penn State
They've
has.
only played there in 1923.
They played there 3.
They haven't played since then.
Syracuse
Well, I guess they've
won.
only
Syracuse
lost
won
it.
that game in 1923, 3-0, by the way, which is a score I could totally see this game having. This
That
weekend.
would be so funny. I'm actually rooting for that.
But
now.
no, they are 1-2 all time at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Okay. How about Penn State?
I don't remember. I can look it up while we get into basketball.
'Cause I like that one a lot.
Was Rutgers ever there?
Again, it would have to be something I look up while you guys
Gotcha.
finish
Yeah.
up here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, hey,
Let's wrap
that's our Orange Zone show for football. Syracuse taking on Pitt, 3:30 Saturday. We'll be back here next week. Again, this is a strange situation, right? Because in the final thoughts, the energy and feel around this team, it's as if they're 1-8. But they could still go to a bowl game, and that's a crazy part of this whole thing. In a win, no matter how ugly it is, puts this team at 5-5, and it makes our job harder in figuring out what the heck the future of this team's going to be.
And that's what they're playing for. That's what with pride and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're playing for right now. I mean, you're not going to win the conference. Go to a bowl game.
I do have
Yeah.
answers
Yeah.
for you now. The two teams were Rutgers and Penn State.
Yes,
Rutgers 3-8 all time at Yankee Stadium.
11 trips there.
Penn State 1-2-1 because there were ties in college football a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that checks out. Final thought.
I should have picked Fordham. Left you with Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better luck next time.
How about you, James?
Hey, I just want to see some good football.
Yeah.
And for the seniors for Syracuse seniors, it's got 3 games left.
Yep.
What do you want out of it? If they're watching this, what do you want out of it? Look deep into it because you got 3 games left. Then it's over with.
Heard it right there. James Mungro, Sam Crossan, Brendon Hodges. I'm Tommy Sladak, Billy Whitaker, Cars and Trucks. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're commenting. Just, last week was a little bit more geared towards should Dino Babers be fired. This week, it's what are you expecting? What do you want to see on Saturday? What are you thinking about with this program? Is it completely forward, or are you still locked into these last 3 games and curious to see what's happened? Let us know. We're out of here. Peace.